everyone, I'm Miss Sharon. Welcome back to Feature Friday here at the Coatesville Area Public Library as we continue our theme of Women's History Month. Last week our focus was fiction books in the children's collection, and today I'm going to share with you some YA books. Our first book is Wonder Woman, Temptus Tossed, written by Lori Hales Anderson and illustrated by Leila Del DeLuca. Diana is celebrating her 16th birthday, but the celebration is interrupted when refugees wash onto the shore of the island. Diana dives in to try to save them. She gets lost in a terrible storm, and the invisible shield that protects the island of the Amazons closes, and Diana is trapped in our world. Diana ends up at a refugee camp in Greece. She can speak multiple languages to help people, and this gets noticed by others. Diana ends up flying to New York, and there she encounters danger and injustice, unlike anything she knows. The first thing I really appreciate about this book is that Diana is treated like a typical 16-year-old. She has questions, concerns, and fears just like us. This book also opens the eyes of the reader, as well as Diana, to things that are going on in the world. Often we live our sheltered, bubbled lives and may not be aware that children can actually go hungry, people can sleep on the streets, and refugees can be arrested for no reason, and refugee children could go missing. Even though Diana is not familiar with these issues, she realizes how unfair and wrong they are, and wants to make a difference. Diana can be an inspiration to us to also be hopeful, even when answers and solutions to problems are not clear or seem impossible. The second book I chose for today is called Mary's Monster by Lita Judge. This tells the story of Mary Shelley, who wrote the famous novel Frankenstein. Mary led a very sad and troubled life, and the author presents it in a very fascinating manner with free verse poetry and black and white watercolor illustrations. This makes the story even more emotional. You can really feel Mary's pain, anger, hope, and joy. If you're not familiar with her story, I really recommend it. It's beautifully told, and it might inspire you to actually check out her work. Obviously, the events that she has experienced impacted her writing. Our third book for today is called Code Girls by Lisa Mundy. During World War II, over 10,000 women came to Washington, D.C. in response to advertisements or were recruited from their small towns across the country to do top secret work to break the codes of Japanese and German messages. The impact on the war helped end it, and this is only coming out now recently because back then during the war, the women were sworn to secrecy. They could not tell anyone what they were doing because the enemy could have maybe found out that these women eventually broke the codes, and then they would have changed the codes again. This is a very inspiring story to know how much women served our country, helped win the war, and if you don't know anything about this, You should definitely check this out. The author writes it so you feel like you're right there along with the women as they go through this journey, because even as they worked, they still were impacted by the war, losing brothers, fathers, boyfriends. So this is a very real story, and I highly recommend it. For our fourth book today, I chose Between Shades of Grey, written by Ruka Sepetys. We're in Lithuania, and 15-year-old Lena, along with her mother and brother, are arrested by the secret Russian police. They and thousands of others are put on cattle cars and sent to Siberia to a work concentration camp. Lena struggles to fathom what happens to her. The conditions there are brutal, freezing cold, many people going hungry, and they are cruelly treated by their guards. Lena is also trying to find out what has happened to her father, and as they go up into Siberia, she draws what she sees, leaving clues behind, hoping that her father will be able to find her and they will be reunited. This book is based on world history. In 1941, at the same time as the Holocaust and World War II was happening, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia were under Soviet rule, and Stalin drew up anti-Soviet lists of people who he believed were not supportive of his regiment, and these were doctors, lawyers, teachers, librarians, priests, and children. These people were arrested. The men were sent to prison. The women were sent to Siberia with the hope that they would all die. This is a very sad story, but it's an important story as well. Lena is a very encouraging heroine. She suffers so much, but yet she chooses. She says, I will survive. I will come back. I will not let this experience be forgotten. I will give voice to the thousands of people who don't make it back. If you're interested in history, this is for you. It's beautifully written, and Lena is such a wonderful character that can inspire us to also hold on to hope when things are very bleak. For our focus spotlight, I have chosen the author Pam Munoz Ryan. She has written over 40 books. She is half Mexican, and her heritage is reflected in many of her stories. She also has a book that was actually made into a play, and many of her books are award winners. This concludes our look at young adult books, as well as wraps up our theme of Women's History Month. I hope you have enjoyed the books I have shared with you, as well as recommended, and that these will be springboards for you to explore other women and other events that have taken place, and perhaps might even make you try to write your own story of your own experiences. Thank you so much. See you in the shelves.